Hitomi Sukishiro, a teen born into a mage family, has mysteriously lost her sense of color and has become placid and socially withdrawn. Kohaku, Hitomi's grandmother, decides to use time magic to transport her granddaughter back in time to meet her 17-year-old self, hoping to alleviate her granddaughter's suffering. The magic transports Hitomi back 60 years to 2018 and places her in a boy's room, from which she promptly escapes through the window. However, this was captured on video by 3 members of the photography and art club at Minamigaoka High School, which is Hitomi's future school, and later uploaded to the internet. Later, the 3 students come across Hitomi, who is lost in the streets, and offer to help her find the town's magic shop. Asagi Kanizo, Kurumi Kawaii, and Sho Yamabuki introduce themselves as they mistake Hitomi for Yuto Aoi's girlfriend after seeing her climb out of his window. When Hitomi arrives at the magic shop, she discovers that her grandmother has left for England to study magic, and she is instead met by her great-great-grandmother, who generously provides her with food and lodging. Hitomi decides to show her an azurite earring Kohaku gave her in the future to prove her connection to their lineage. Still, she accidentally drops it while hiding under Aoi's bed. Hitomi follows Aoi out the next day, eventually stopping at a park and starting to draw. She is surprised to see the colors in his art come to life, and she unexpectedly reveals herself to him. Aoi questions her about the video, and she stumbles around, trying to explain how magic caused it, claiming to be a mage. He asks for more information about the drawing, but she leaves. Returning to the magic shop, Kohaku's family decides to enroll Hitomi in school, wanting her to continue living life despite having traveled from the future, and before she knows it, she's in Minamigaoka, reunited with the members of the photography and arts club, including Aoi, Asagi, and Kohaku, who is due to return soon, in the same class as her. In the middle of the corridor, Aoi requests that Hitomi demonstrate some magic to dispel rumors that she is his girlfriend. Even though her hands sparkle with stars, Hitomi is reminded of her dislike for magic. Despite the poor quality of her magic, Aoi wishes to see it again in the future, and in exchange, he allows her to look at his drawing again. Yamabuki sees her practicing magic late at night on school grounds, creating a shower of stars, and is pleased that her magic can make someone happy. The various clubs at Minamigaoka hold a presentation and fair to recruit first-year students. Hitomi is encouraged to look around because she is a transfer student, and she enters the clubroom of the photography and arts club, which has merged due to Aoi being the only member in the arts section and the photography section being short on members. Aoi first introduces Hitomi to the arts section after she expresses a desire to try both sides, allowing her to do some freehand drawing. Due to her inability to see colors, she ends up painting a very bold and colorful painting of stuffed rabbits, which Aoi finds very interesting. Later, the others introduce Hitomi to the photography section via a hands-on session. Still, when the drama club's presentation is pushed forward, Yamabuki is forced to go take photos, leaving the organizers short-handed, and Hitomi is enlisted to be a model. She is instructed to walk on water using a dry ice effect on the pool and blue starzan, which is sold at the magic shop for non-mages to create magic, and the new members are challenged to take a mysterious-looking photo with their cameras. Again, Hitomi's inability to see colors causes her to use the wrong sand, causing snow to fall instead. Still, she is able to walk on water until Kurumi calls out to her in concern, causing her to lose concentration and fall into the water. Aoi realizes Hitomi is colorblind after these 2 incidents, and she begs him not to tell anyone, apologizing for what happened today and thanking him for helping her remember colors through his drawings. Hitomi decides to join the photography and arts club. Kohaku returns from England by ship and uses her magic to create an illusion of her school in London using photographs. Still, an oncoming train causes dust from the engine to fall all over everyone and the teacher. However, after school, Kohaku informs Hitomi that the train was caused by her instead, and she suspects she possesses a dormant power. The next day, Hitomi, accompanied by Kohaku, goes to the school roof with everyone to photograph the night skyline to create a new theme for a more exciting presentation combining photography and art for the upcoming cultural festival. Chisuga Fukasawa, a first-year student, stays behind with Kurumi after scaring her with ghost stories. The rest go to the roof, where Yamabuki distinguishes between the two Sukishiro family members by calling them by their first names. Still, Aoi decides to only call Kohaku by her first name for distinction. Following the photo shoot, Hitomi gathers the courage to tell everyone she is from the future, with Kohaku as her grandmother. After taking these satisfying shots, the two use magic to create a train in the sky, and they all return home. Kohaku joins the photography and arts club to merge it with the magic club, which she accidentally disbanded some time ago and renames it the Magic Photography and Arts Club. Asagi struggles with her one-sided feelings for Yamabuki, especially after a fortune-teller predicted that her romantic luck would worsen with the impending arrival of a rival. Hitomi is constantly practicing her magic to achieve satisfactory results after seeing how it makes Aoi happy, and Aoi is having difficulty expressing himself through art after opting to go job hunting rather than art school. Later in the week, Kohaku throws a pep rally/potluck party at the Tsukishiro residence to give Aoi and Hitomi a chance to be alone, for Hitomi to give Aoi her handcrafted stars, and for him to have a change of pace when having blocks in the middle of the drawing. When Yamabuki says that seeing Hitomi gives her all in everything she does makes him want to do the same, Asagi becomes envious. Still, some encouragement from Kohaku gives her the resolve to change for the better. Asagi decides to try making postcards with Yamabuki's help, recalling how they were childhood friends and deciding to put her feelings aside for the time being. Aoi uses the sand after the party and is bathed in a glow of stars, with a golden fish jumping into his drawing device. Aoi tells Hitomi about the golden fish that appeared, recalling how it had previously appeared in some of his drawings. Still, its first appearance was in an elementary school art competition, where he won first place with it. Yamabuki, who has known Aoi since elementary school, shows Hitomi a photo of it, but seeing the two walk together unexpectedly makes Asagi jealous, and she decides to make him see her as a woman. The following day, Kurumi organizes a photo shoot in which everyone dresses up in formal attire and takes photos outside, but Hitomi inadvertently walks into Aoi's drawing. She continues more profoundly there, amidst the colorful scenery of a skyline reflected in the water ere the golden fish swims until the scenery abruptly changes from a series of clouds to a deserted wasteland. The surrounding architecture and a massive golden fish, caught dead in a net, have been buried. Hitomi also sees a shadowy figure attempting to catch a smaller golden fish and rushes to stop him, only to awaken on the bench in the real world after allegedly collapsing. However, when questioned about it, Aoi snaps at Hitomi, causing friction between the two, who avoid each other until they accidentally bump into each other, Aoi on his way home with Kohaku, and Hitomi having just finished looking at an exhibition set up by his friend. Running away from him, Aoi pursues her to the bus stop and promises that once he's finished, he'll let her see his latest work, reawakening the golden fish, and Hitomi notices that her sense of color has returned. However, Hitomi's sense of color vanished the next day. As Yamabuki and Kurumi prepare for exams, they delegate summer camp planning to the next president, Asagi, and vice president, Hitomi. Chisuga, on the other hand, inadvertently brings up Kurumi's older sister, who works as a famous pastry chef in a shop called Multi-K Roll, triggering Kurumi's inferiority complex against her. When Hitomi expresses concern for her, Kurumi informs her that Yamabuki wishes to study photography at university. In contrast, Aoi wishes to attend a national university, possibly to learn art, admitting that they share the same motivation and passion as her sister that she lacks. Kurumi requests that Hitomi keep this conversation private. Still, Chisuga overhears it and shows her the various photos he has taken of her during club activities, encouraging her that she will undoubtedly find things she enjoys in the future. Kurumi decides that photography is her top priority for the time being and vows to work hard to achieve it. Later, Aoi shows Hitomi a new piece depicting a human hand reaching out to a scene of transparent globes filled with colorful objects, which awakens her long-dormant desire to see colors. While admiring the night skyline, Hitomi reveals her inability to see colors. Kohaku hypothesizes that Hitomi unconsciously used magic on herself, resulting in her monochromatic world, and has Aoi perform humiliating experiments on Hitomi to get a hint on how she can break the spell, such as calling him by his first name and having them come close to each other. However, these experiments are a colossal failure, and Kohaku decides to use time magic to return Hitomi to her original time. On the other hand, the club members are saddened by Hitomi's impending departure. Hitomi is adamant about not returning. Yamabuki decides to take Hitomi around the city in this era at her request, confessing to her later and making her flee in fear. The next day, Hitomi seeks advice from Kohaku while avoiding Yamabuki and avoiding club activities. Asagi notices something is wrong and tells Hitomi that she needs to give the confessor a proper answer, which Hitomi does the next day. However, Asagi quickly realizes what is happening and tells Hitomi that she likes Yamabuki, as she has since they were childhood friends, before fleeing. Asagi and Hitomi reconcile by sharing parfaits. Kohaku decides to use magic to transport the students who have come to see the photography and arts club's anthologies into the photos and pictures for the next round of club activities. Still, halfway back home, she reveals to Hitomi that she will cast the magic instead. To ensure everyone can enjoy the same bright and colorful scenes, Hitomi works tirelessly at the club and at home with paper airplanes and Kohaku's photos of England. After mastering the 3-minute magic, the club members enter one of Aoi's drawings depicting a fantasy world, where Aoi and Hitomi run into the golden fish again. The two follow it into the darkness, but Aoi quickly realizes that Hitomi is missing, with a stone statue of her in front of him next to a heavy bamboo door. When he opens it, he sees a young Hitomi drawing a river with monochromatic colors that separate a crying princess and queen, which he tries to brighten up by drawing a boat, a bird, and later a rainbow bridge for the princess to cross, but Hitomi rejects all of them. Returning to the present, Hitomi decides to tell Aoi about her family history. Her mother was the first of the Sukishiro to be unable to use magic, giving birth to a daughter who could. Her mother left one day, and Hitomi has always believed that it was a punishment for her to be happy with her ability but unable to notice her mother's sorrow and make her happy again, thus assuming that magic tore at their relationship and led to its hatred. After Hitomi bursts into tears, Aoi walks her home. The next few days are filled with intense preparations for the Magic Photography Arts Club. Still, while cleaning up, Hitomi only reappears, remarking as if time had stopped for a moment and causing Kohaku concern. Kohaku emails Professor Utley from her magic school in England, learning that time magic is not permanent and that, because Hitomi's presence is an anomaly, it will undoubtedly cause divergences in the course of history, resulting in inevitable time gaps where the person or object in question can stand to remain stuck if it stays for too long. With her teenage self still lacking in magical power, Kohaku requests that Hitomi work with her to send her back in time, and she desperately searches for the purest, highest quality sand possible, enlisting the help of everyone else in the club. Meanwhile, Hitomi suffers from a lack of motivation to return home and begins to disappear more frequently. Kohaku decides that Hitomi will leave in 2 days, on the night of the cultural festival, when a new moon will appear, to maximize the powers of the stars. That night, Hitomi sends Aoi a paper airplane, and they embrace after the meeting, confirming their feelings for each other. Hitomi talks to Aoi, who tells her he's glad he met her, and Hitomi resolves to find out why she was transported back in time. The next day, everyone enjoys themselves at the festival, while Kohaku's family throws a feast to bid her farewell. The second day of the cultural festival reminds Asagi of Hitomi's final day. She persuades Yamabuki to let Aoi and her spend some alone time exploring the festival, but Aoi hesitates to confess correctly. That night, all the students attend an after-party at which Kohaku and Hitomi perform magical fireworks. Hitomi realizes, in her ecstasy, that she has regained her sense of color, albeit for a brief moment. After a lovely day, everyone returns to the park, their sadness returning as Kohaku prepares to send Hitomi back in time. The club members leave their stars and trails for Hitomi to combine with the magic. As there is still some time before the moon matures completely, each member decides to leave her their messages. Yamabuki wishes for her to have more confidence in herself, Chigusa wishes for her to smile more, Kurumi thanks her for joining the club, Asagi promises to write her letters dated in the future, Kohaku expresses her love, and Aoi wishes her all the best in the future and promises never to forget her. Hitomi also says how much she has changed since arriving here and expresses gratitude for these priceless feelings and memories. However, Hitomi's magic interferes with her announcement, breaking the time magic. Aoi enters the magical circle to save her, but they are redirected to Hitomi's room of monochromatic drawings. After realizing they had always been similar in shutting themselves away from their emotions and embracing each other, the two finally confessed their feelings. Hitomi regains her sense of color, and they are successfully transported back to the present for them, who have brought color into the other's future. Only Kohaku knows that Hitomi's time magic didn't work. Instead, Hitomi's unconscious erasure of colors from her vision was the limit that had broken the time magic of Kohaku's future self-cast. Back in 2078, an old Kohaku gave Hitomi a time capsule that everyone made using their photography skills. Still, she is especially moved by a picture book called The Seven-Colored Penguin, which was the only book she read in color as a child and detailing the transformation of a monochromatic penguin, Hitomi, to a colorful one with the help of a rabbit, Asagi, a flying squirrel, Kurumi, a bear, Aoi. Hitomi returns to her life with renewed vigor and joy after regaining the people and emotions she lost as a child. Thanks for watching. If this series is the most liked in my anime recap production, I will make a part 2. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to help me make more content.